7-point margin at halftime stretched out to 18. What were the factors that allowed UCF to pull away a little bit?
There was a lot of factors. I go back and I can go back to the beginning of the game. We started the game with a couple turnovers. Started the game almost very similar to how we started against Houston, but UCF just didn't apply the same amount of pressure. But we were still not ready to compete early in the game. And as you mentioned, down 7, stretched to 18. Energy, you have to want to compete. And at home, I'm looking at the stat sheet here and I see 29% for the game. You can't beat a competitive team if you allow them to shoot 43% and you only shoot 29%. You have to play with a little bit more competitive edge, and they gave us a chance. We had plenty of chances. I thought our post players had opportunities to score, but we missed a few opportunities and we turned the ball over. If I look at a stat sheet and they say that they have 23 points off of our turnovers, they're telling me we having way too many turnovers. So you ask me, you know, it's so many things that I can talk about there that creates separation.
You mentioned the early turnovers. It seemed like there were several in the first few minutes where your guards were trying to get the ball inside in the paint. Was that a primary focus of your plan going in, try to establish that paint presence?
Yeah, it was. It was always identified because we watched what their defense was doing, but it wasn't you put on blinders and you only look for the post. We had a mentality, well, our strategy was to take what they gave us and be aggressive, but it looked like we was focused on only one thing and looking at that, and we allowed the defense to get turnover, get steals.
You did win the rebounding edge again, so what is that, 12 out of 15 times. What does that tell you as far as, at least, regardless of the score, your players going to the boards and the energy being put out?
You can look at it that way if that's what it shows. It could mean the other team is missing a lot of shots too. I just didn't see the energy where I want to give my team credit for really boxing out and eating the boards up. What I will say is Dai'ja Thomas came out and she was a one-woman rebounding machine early in the game. She had that. If we could have got that to become contagious for the rest of our team, I think we would have showed up. But we was struggling to try to find another player to go with one. When one starts to compete, then we lose 4, and you can't do that in conference play.
Dai'ja had 8 of her 9 boards in the first half. Did she run out of gas a little bit, or did UCF focus more on her and try to maybe double to box her out and keep her off the boards?
I don't know. I mean, I think she continued to play hard, but I think they emphasized that we had one person that was bringing energy and they wanted to neutralize it. And I think they put a body on it, kept Dai'ja from getting to the balls, and we didn't pursue the ball very, very well. If Dai'ja was she had 8 rebounds and 1 in the second half, and she ended up being our leading rebounder. That's why it's hard for me to give my team credit for leading that team in rebounding.
A lot of times this year you've alternated Claire Bradshaw and Stephanie Collins. To start the third quarter, you had both of them in with Dai'ja up front. Yeah. What were you trying to establish with that bigger front line?
I was just trying to establish who was willing to play. I had 2 freshman point guards that would look like they saw, the deer in the headlights, and they just couldn't get the focus going. I saw Ariana, she looked nervous. I saw Morgan, she came out, she turned the ball over, and turnovers was what we didn't need at that time when they, to me, were not forced. They were unforced turnovers. At that time, I wanted to settle them down. So I wanted to get a good start in the second half, so I started my senior group. I started a big lineup and told Mackenzie she was going to run the one with some confidence and see if we could get something going. And we got the game back to 10 with 6 minutes left. You get it to 10, and as bad as you playing, I'm over there excited, thinking we have a chance to be able to continue to cut it with the way we were playing. But I didn't see a spark in anybody's eyes or in their body language when I said that, and I knew we were in trouble.
You mentioned the turnovers. UCF had 13 steals tonight. How much of that was their defensive effort, and how much of it was, like you said, a couple of unforced turnovers on your side?
Well, that's a combination of both. That's what they do. They average 11 steals a game, and that's with anybody they play all year long. 11 steals is what they average. They got 13 tonight, but a lot of those, I don't know how much they stole them and how much we gave them a chance to steal it. So what we saw in that category is UCF being UCF. That's their identity. We just And our identity right now, unfortunately, we turning the ball over, and I can't get the team to be aggressive and enough to neutralize that.
Dai'ja Cash, a freshman, but active, big body, and limited to 8 minutes tonight because of foul trouble.
Yeah.
How much did that mess with your rotation that you were planning?
It killed it because I think Dai'ja has the ability to do what our game plan was to do, but she got herself in foul trouble, a little bit anxious, and we had bad fouls. I mean, I think Dai'ja had a foul where she just wrapped up a girl after a rebound, and Dai'ja was posting up and sticking up and reaching back. That's not how we teach anything. Tonight was a very uncharacteristic performance from the Mustangs.